Hi, Patrick here, Have Cheetah Will View. We are back with another movie review, and this time we're going to be talking about 1991's Conagher. This is those who know when I show a disc like this without a case. This was left to me by my buddy Catfish, and so we're going to be talking about this movie today. Um, so one thing about me and Catfish that we both love Western movies. We love the Western genre. Um, we used to talk about it a lot. Even catch a few episodes here and there. But this is one genre that I don't really see covered on YouTube. Maybe I don't haven't looked hard enough or whatnot, but I really don't see very many people in the media community that I'm in talk about the Western movie. And that's a real shame because Westerns are a lot of fun. And believe it or not, there are Westerns out there other than the good, bad, and the ugly and Unforgiven. Those two aren't don't define the Western. Um, and quite honestly, when you match up against some of the classic westerns out there, Unforgiven actually is sort of overrated. To tell you the truth, overrated. Seen a lot better westerns out there, but they don't get talked about it anymore. And it used to be when I grew up that was like a staple on TV. Oh my gosh, you turn on Saturday and Sunday and there'd be what they call odors. They called them odors, Oater oats, um, because there's so many westerns. Westerns were prolific in the late 40s, throughout the 50s. Hell, even in the early shows, in the 30s too. You go back and you watch John Wayne movies. You watch him do his thing back there in the 30s. Of course, his star broke out when he did Stagecoach. But when you think of the American Western, as far as stories go, you think of two writers. You think of Zane Grey, and you immediately think of Louis L'Amour. Uh, we've already done a Louis L'Amour movie. We did Catlow a little while ago, and so we're going to be talking about Conagher today. Conagher came out in 1991. It was made for TBS. Ted Turner um, loved the western as well, and he had a series of movies made for TBS and TNT. So Sam Elliott, Tom Selleck, they did a lot of made for TV Western movies for the network, including one which I keep my eye out for called Purgatory. With that was excellent too. All right, so Conagher came out in 1991. It stars Sam Elliott, Katherine Ross, Barry Corbin, um, Billy Greenbush, Ken Curtis, uh, Buck Taylor, Dub Taylor. A lot of well-known, familiar faces among Western fans. If you're older than like I am, so this is a really interesting movie, and it was directed by a cinematographer named Ronaldo Villalobos. Ronaldo is a prolific cinematographer, one of the best there is out there, and he also directed a handful of movies and TV series. And so he directed Conagher. Now, this is a really interesting story. The way they filmed it, they almost filmed it like it was in two different halves. First, you had the Catherine Ross character. We say that's how the movie opens up. The movie opens up with the Teal family in a wagon. Doesn't say the state. But they do come to their land, their patch of land, and they bought a house with a house. They bought well, the dad came out there and bought land, and he built a house. Then he went back and got his family, and Catherine Ross and their two kids. They all come to the house, and the dad, Jacob Teal, decided he's going to ride out to get cattle because they're going to raise cattle on their ranch. Unfortunately, though, he is tragically killed in an accident, and no one knows it. No one knows that he falls off his horse and he dies, and no one knows. So Catherine Ross is living with her two kids, waiting for her husband to come back, and things don't look really good for them until coach comes up, and they say that they're doing a stagecoach line, and they're going to use they want to use the Teal House as a way station, so people can so the coach can stop by and feed the passengers and whatnot and give them rest. And so, needing the money, Katherine Ross decides to do that. So she establishes her house as a way station. Um, we also then meet Conagher, who's just a drifter. He's a great cowhand, and he's a drifter, and he comes into the territory as well. And you can definitely see that he's a good man, but he's a little bit lost. He's getting a little bit older, gray, and he knows that this is something that he doesn't really want to do. It's all he knows. Um, so we see him. He talks down a group, a gang called the Ladder Five. He talks them down. They know that he's an impressive hand with a gun, and so no one wants to push that. Though he doesn't really come across as a gunfighter, he comes across as a cowboy. He just happens to have a pretty good shot. Um, so the two stories are basically Conagher trying to find his way, and the Teal family trying to find their way, and then they meet, but they don't meet, and it's not magic. It's like they just briefly touch, meet, and then they both go their own ways, and we go back to following them again. It's a really interesting aspect of the story, how they divided it into two like that. Um, Conagher goes to work for another ranch, and with his partner. His partner and him are they're good. I can't really say his partner was a gentleman named Chris Mahler. I can't really say Mahler was a really bad guy. He wanted more than he wanted more, and he didn't necessarily. He got tired of waiting for it. But him and Conagher have been saddle partners for quite a while, and so when they go to work for the Tay ranch, Conagher finds out that his friend is actually joined up with the Ladder Five gang and stealing cattle. Now they don't have a big old gunfight or anything like that, but Conagher tells him that you need to stop. You need to think about what you're doing, and he's trying to influence a young cowhand. Mahler is trying to influence a young cowhand to come with him to join the gang, and Conagher uses his life experience to talk him out of it. So Johnny doesn't do that. Johnny stays and helps the Tay Ranch. Mahler goes his own way. And then, basically the Conagher says, the next time you and I meet, it's gonna be a little rough. And the Ladder Five gang continues to rob this gentleman Tay until Conagher takes a stand, and he shoots him up. He shoots him up, and we do find out that he is a very good shot. And he chases them away, but they ambush him. They shoot him and they ambush him, and he makes his way to the Teal house. And during the course of his rehabilitation, he gets close to the family. He gets close. He helps the son and the daughter out. They really like him. She likes him, but he's restless. And as he's riding, he goes back to ride for the ranch, and he discovers while he's doing this, he notices on some tumbleweed, someone had wrote a note on some tumbleweed, and he starts reading it, and we find out later on that it's actually Mrs. Teal. She's lonely. She understands that her husband is dead. He's not coming back, and she's out there by herself with two kids, and she's lonely, and she writes little notes, and she ties them onto the tumbleweed to let it just go wherever it goes. She's not thinking anything of it. Think of it like a letter in a bottle. Think of a letter bottle. You write a letter in a bottle and you throw it in the ocean, and that's all. That's the end of it, right? You really don't think anybody's going to really find it. You just do it. Um, but it does come to pass that where Sam Elliott, his Conagher has to make a life decision. He rides to see Mrs. Teal, and initially it looks like maybe something might happen, but then of all people, Mahler shows up, and we find out that he's been trying to court her, but she's not really having any of it. But of course, Conagher doesn't know that, and so instead of expressing his feelings, he decides to drift on, to ride on. So he rides to town, and he's intending to get drunk. And the next day, he's going to ride up toward Montana. So he goes inside the bar to do this, and none other than Mahler is in the bar. And this is one trait that Louis L'Amour really excelled at, and that is a lot of his novels. He did not really like the gunfight, the showdown. He didn't do that very much in his novels. What he did like, and you did see it a lot of his novels, and you saw this in Conagher too, is a fist fight. That's right. He loved to do fist fights between his villain and his hero. Um, Sometimes the villain would get killed at the end, but more often than not, the big showdown was with the hero and the villain with a fist fight, and so we get that here. Now Mahler is younger. He's younger, and he's fought. He's had a lot of fights. He says no man has ever beat me with his fist, and it looks to be true here too, as he starts whipping up on Conagher, and as they're fist fighting in the bar, and finally Conagher starts landing, and of course that's what happens. Well, Mahler won't be able to say that after this, so he doesn't kill his former friend. He gives him a whooping, and then it's just, and as he's trying to recover, because his ass gets kicked too. This isn't just a one sided fight. Conagher, he it's a near thing. And then we see Mrs. Teal. She's ridden to town, hoping to find him, and she does. She does, and she basically walks up to him and says, "Listen, you need to come home. I mean, your place is here with us." And the man finally understands that he doesn't have to drift anymore. There's a good family, a good woman there for him, and so that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna ride on back and have a happy ever after ending, as much as you could back in those days. Um, Conagher's a great movie. I know it's not going to be for everybody. I know it's a little slow for people, but give it patience. It really is a beautiful story, and I really like the way they filmed it, and the fact they filmed it with both sides. It wasn't it didn't play into any Western cliches. Like I said, like the gunfight at the end of in the middle of the street. It doesn't do that. Um, we see that the people that he engages with are, they're not. It's not always simply black and white. In fact, when the leader of the latter gang has a chance to kill Conagher, he doesn't. He doesn't kill him at all. He says, "Why would I do that? I'm a thief. I'm not a murderer." And cowboys have their own code of ethics and honor back there, and Louis L'Amour always was able to bring that out, including some who didn't have that. But most of his characters that he has written about did have that. That's what makes his book stand out, is that his characters are always richly developed. Even the bad guys are richly developed, and that makes for great reading, and it makes for a great storytelling. The movie looks fantastic as far as it being filmed. It looks fantastic. It's probably filmed out in the New Mexico area, New Mexico, Arizona. It looks fantastic. Um, it's very authentic. The gunfights they have there, there's some battles there in between. I didn't cover because you have to watch that for yourself. Um, the acting itself is really, really subdued, sublime, so to speak. It's not loud. It's not brash. Katherine Ross looks very, very elegant. Um, she looks like a pioneer woman. Of course, Sam Elliott and Katherine Ross are married. I think they got married in the 80s. In fact, I think they met on the set of a Western, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the Sacketts. Uh, so, yes, I highly recommend Conagher. You can get this movie you can probably get this movie on the Warner Brothers website because it is a Warner Brothers movie, so you can get this movie anytime. You can go ahead and order that. You can probably order that through the archives, um, or you can check on eBay or Amazon to get a copy of this. Highly recommend it. And there's if you type in TNT or TBS Western movies, I would get everyone that's listed on there because they make great movies. That's one thing you have to say about Ted Turner. Like I said, he loved the Western. He loved the Western. And when he commissioned these movies to be made, they did a slam bang job of it. A lot of great movies came out on TBS and TNT. So that's it for Conagher. Thank you for watching. If you're new to my channel and you like Western movies, please give me a sub. I know this is a little bit of a long review, but this is how I roll. Um, Let me know what you think of Westerns. I'd like to know what your favorite Western is. Who's your favorite Western star? What movie did you like the best? What movie do you think is overrated? I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear what Western do you think is overrated. Let me know what your favorite TV Western was. Was it the Bonanza? Was it Gunsmoke? High Chaparral? Cimarron Creek? Cimarron Trail? Have Gun Will Travel? Oh gosh, there's so many of them. But I'd like to hear which one is your favorite. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you like hearing people do Western reviews because I have a lot of them. I'll be happy to do it. But let me know what you think. Like to hear your feedback. All right, so that's it for us. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon. Peace.